heavily won with viewers, and you guys voted for Aki to get his own ranking every video. So yeah, we're not getting that ranking every Chainsaw Man video for a while, but I am glad that you guys voted for Aki because he is my second favorite Chainsaw Man character, and it's mainly for his personality in the show, and I like the design too, so that's an A+ trade right there. Also, if you're curious, here are my top 10 Chainsaw Man characters. They are subjected to change since I am an anime only watcher, except for the top 2, they're locked. So with that being said, without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so we're starting off with this new game, Devil Hunter, which was released as a playtest in January. And of all the Chainsaw Man games that I've covered up so far in this ranking every series, this feels much more like a Chainsaw Man game. At least that's what I thought it would be until the owner sold their game to a person named Mello, who apparently doesn't have a very good reputation when it comes to the games they buy. I'm not even sure as to why they even sold the game in the first place when the game itself is still in playtest mode. And not even 2 months in, they temporarily shut down the game. So there goes that, but hey, at least I have the footage. Also, apparently you can lose the contract in this game, which is something I hadn't considered and I'm quite frankly pissed off about. But regardless, I got the Fox contract again alongside the Future Devil, which completes the Aki build. Also, in order to get the Future Devil, you have to do a rhythm game, which is cool, I guess. I guess it's good to know that I still got some gas left in the tank. The Fox Devil is pretty nice for grinding, with it having 2 forms with the Claw Strike and a classic cone move, although I'm not exactly sure how to summon that, but regardless, it's a nice close range move to use. The Future Devil acts as a counter in which if you manage to land it 3 times, you will have a chance to auto dodge a move, which is pretty nice, especially in a fast-paced combat game like this. But I sometimes struggle landing the counter because for some reason I use this move in every scenario while I'm not being hit. I mean, to be fair, it's most likely a skill issue on my part. And if you partner these 2 contracts together with a katana moveset, it becomes a pretty decent build that you can grind in-game and engage in combat with. One tip that I recommend is for you to use your claw move after stunning your opponent instead of just randomly throwing it out there, since it's really easy for it to miss due to its limited range. The only real downside that I can come up with this is that you're going to struggle a bit against long range or fast paced enemies such as gun, AK-47, or whatever that martial arts general's looking ability is, but it honestly depends on your use of skill points and how you structure the build itself. Also, I would recommend you use Future Devil sparingly, as it's pretty easy to get punished if you mistime it. So for Devil Hunter's Aki build, I'll put it in B tier. It's a pretty nice build to use for both grinding and combat. It's kind of a shame that this game had a lifespan of Quiz Duarte's career. No shame to him, but I really hope that Devil Hunters can find his footing again. So Aki in Chainsaw Man Testing Place is essentially the Devil Hunter ability, but if you want to have a complete Aki, I will select the Future Sight contract. I also find it weird that there's a Ball Breaker ability as a standalone character. Why not just fuse it with the Devil Hunter or the Fox Devil, or I don't know, make an Aki character? But regardless, this combo is average. You have 2 parry moves, with Future Sight being the better one out of the 2. Sure, parry is good, but the opponent can just follow it up with another attack. Both the gun and the grenade move is pretty nice, although the range is limited on both moves, and the grenade move requires timing. You might win a couple matches against inexperienced or AFK players, but lose frequently to more experienced players. But hey, you'll definitely have that win against Chicken. This is definitely a weird inclusion since it's technically not Aki, but at the same time you could argue that Devil Hunter's Aki isn't really Aki but rather a build. It's close enough, I guess. I could see this ability being useful in a team scenario where you can tag team off of each other. I'm just gonna put an asterisk on this one anyways, so for Chainsaw Man's Testing Place Aki, I'll put it in D tier. Chainsaw Man's Arena Clashes Aki is a pretty good character to use. Aki's base has 4 moves: Future Sight, Cursed Sword, Con, and Future Dash. Future Sight and Future Dash are good evading moves, with Future Dash having a nice mobility element to it. Con is very similar to Akane's and Katana Man's moveset, and when I mean similar, it's literally just a copy and paste. Although Aki's Con move was first, so that's pretty lazy on the developer's part. But regardless, it's a good move to use, with it being usable as a combo starter or just a random get off me move. The Cursed Sword move is also really good, with it dealing good damage and knocking back the opponent. So you can do a nice little M1 combo following it with a Cursed Sword and ending it with Con. There are some instances where the Con move just doesn't land at times, but it's not too much of a problem. The Awakening is basically the same exact moveset, but with a new move, Easy Revenge, which is broken as hell. Sometimes it works and it deals a good amount of damage, albeit with a broken animation, and sometimes it just breaks with you and the opponent being able to attack and deal damage. It definitely needs a rework. Overall, Chainsaw Man's Arena Clashes Aki is nice, and I would recommend you use it to grind money. And I hope that the Awakening gets a rework, because that one move change isn't gonna cut it. So for Chainsaw Man's Arena Clashes Aki, I'll put it in B tier. Chainsaw Man's Battlegrounds Aki is good for the most part. It comes with 4 moves excluding the transformation move. Thrustblade, Barrage, Foresight Grab, and Cant. Kunipple, Foresight Grab and Barrage being good combo extender moves, and Thrustblade and Cant being good combo ending moves. Cant does work as a combo starter if you're able to land either your M1s or Thrustblade after using it. A combo that I like to use is M1 halfway, Foresight Grab or Barrage, M1 halfway, Foresight Grab or Barrage, and then ending it with either Thrustblade or Cant. I hope you guys got that. I do like how Foresight Grab and Thrustblades charges you forward, but there are some instances where it just doesn't land. The transformation move, or in this case the rage form, is unfinished, but it does have a pretty good move in Cursed Lunge. Basically, if you use it 3 times, it does the thing that happened to Katana Man and you lose health, and I'm assuming it deals damage to your opponent as well, so I guess it's a plus. All in all, Chainsaw Man's Battlegrounds Aki, despite being incomplete, is a good character to use, and it will definitely be my recommendation once the awakening is finished. So for Chainsaw Man's Battlegrounds Aki, I'll put it in A tier. Also, apparently the group that works on this game formerly worked on Jojo Today's End, which is insane to think about because that game was buggy. But it is good to know that they're working on a new project. I wish nothing but the best for them. So Chainsaw Man Devil Heart's version of Aki is a bit different since it's divided by contracts similarly to Devil Hunters. But this time it costs $5,000 to get, which I don't have. Just kidding, I do have the contracts just in different accounts, which is mildly inconvenient, but I'm gonna cover it anyways. The Con move from the Fox Devil contract is a really nice move to use. You essentially summon the Fox Devil to bite your opponent, dealing damage and stunning your opponent for a bit. I personally like to use it as a combo starter when I'm grinding against enemies since it has a short distance and takes a bit to summon. If they were to rework this contract, they should make it so it auto targets the nearest user, similarly to a Universal Times first update King Crimson, if you know you know, or something like that, because the limited range does hold this contract back a bit. I'm going to put this contract in B tier. You gotta distance yourself a bit for this move, which could be a problem when you're in combat with an actual person, but when grinding, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. The Future Sight contract is pretty good for the most part. It essentially allows you to negate any incoming attacks for a couple of seconds with a black screen popping up for half a second. I like the fact that you can move and attack during the contract's duration, so for that alone, I gotta put it in A tier. I feel like there isn't really any downsides for having this contract. You can still move and attack and use your other contracts and even transform during Future Sight. Like, I feel like you shouldn't be allowed to do one of those things. Like, maybe disable other contracts or transformations during the move's duration, but I shouldn't be giving them any ideas. There is the Nail Sword contract, but I feel like that contract is unnecessary and you're better off with the Katana. So yeah, not gonna cover that. So overall, if you have the Aki build, which consists of Katana, Con, and Future Sight, you're in a pretty nice spot. These contracts complement each other really well, with the Future Sight allowing you to use Con freely without having to worry about being punished. Not to mention there's a relatively fast speed of Katana allowing you to combo off of Con and Future Sight. So for Chainsaw Man Devil's Heart Aki build, I put it in A tier. It's a pretty nice build. Yes, Anime Battle Arena does have Aki, and it leaves a sour taste in my mouth because I have a feeling that they don't really like this character. But regardless, I'll be talking about him. The base is below average for the most part. Sword Lunge and Con is a good move to use as a combo starter, with Curse Plays being a combo ender. Also, good luck landing any of these moves. Con is a good move to use, and I highly recommend you use it for easy damage. Just be weary of the range aspect since it just sometimes just goes to another location if you miss your opponent. The Future Sight move acts as a counter, and it's a bit impractical since it requires precise timing, which doesn't exist in Anime Battle Arena. But to give it credit, it does deal decent damage to your opponent if the counter works. For the Awakening, I'm not even gonna cover it since it's a massive spoiler and a whole different character. Sure, you can argue,
oh Justin, the Denji character Awakening is also a spoiler, and also you read a manga if you're so worried about spoilers.
Alright, sure, I understand where you're coming from, but to counteract your point, the Denji Awakening is a spoiler, yes, but if you're an anime only watcher like me and you see this, you probably have no idea what you're looking at. Like, all you see is a cool form of Chainsaw Man. Aki, on the other hand, you definitely have an idea of what's going on, and it's a huge spoiler for you. Also, why should I have to read the manga to use a character in a Roblox game? Like, it's such an absurd reason to justify the developer's poor decision. I find it pretty petty and a bit thoughtless, but I wouldn't expect anything more from a game like this. And also, to play devil's advocate, when you do look up Aki from Chainsaw Man, you do see the spoiler that is present in this game, but that still doesn't justify it at all. But I digress, and since we can't use the Awakening, this will leave the player at a massive disadvantage since the base is not good. I mean, I could see this being useful in like a team or Juggernaut-like setting. So for Anime Battle Arena's Aki, I'll put it in D tier. Well. Tower defense games. Never thought I'll see today. But yeah, I did manage to get Aki in Anime Crusaders. I'm not even going to attempt to get Aki in the other tower defense games, but Anime Crusaders Aki is a pretty good unit to have. I feel like every unit in this game is good to some extent, but regardless, it's still a good unit to use. His base from the 1st to 3rd level has him using his cone move to damage his opponent. It does have a decent long cooldown, but it deals a lot of damage depending on the level and upgrade. And also, it does have a passive, Shared Burden, which allows the Angel unit to gain a 10% additional range and damage, which is pretty wholesome if you know you know. Once Aki is at the 4th upgrade, he would switch to using his blade and start lunging at the enemies. This would increase his range and damage. Overall, I say that Aki is a pretty good unit to use, and I do recommend you use it if you're lucky enough to pull him from the banner. Yes, I am aware that there's a fate-bound version of this, but yeah, let's not talk about that. But regardless, I'll be putting Anime Crusaders Aki in A tier. Man, we're back in this game. I mean, hey, at least I can somewhat act like Aki this time with the whole outfit and katana. If anything, this bumps it up to the B tier, because not only is it somewhat useful because it's an actual ability, because the rest of the ability are just outfits. Yes, I am aware that they have Himeno and Kobeni, so don't go typing in the comments. So yeah, for Chainsaw Man Tycoon's Aki, I'll put it in B tier. Yep, that's right, we're gonna have another figure review. This time being Total Anime's Aki. Yeah, no SH Figure Arts this time. Despite it not being on the same quality as SH Figure Arts, which is a comparison you shouldn't be making in the first place, is a solid figure. The figure does a pretty nice job in capturing Aki's appearance from the anime. They even got the shoes right. The diaphragm area does look a little bit off, especially when you compare it to the Figma and SH Figure Arts, but it doesn't really bother me that much. Also, the way you interchange the heads for Total Anime does leave a gap between the hair, which could be an issue for some. The accessories for Total Anime's Aki is decent for the most part. He comes with 3 head plates, the basic head, angry head, and cone head. He also comes with 4 sets of hands, 2 gripping hands, 1 cone hand, and 1 fist hand. For his weapons, he comes with his nail sword and sheath. The sheath can also be split into 2 and is wearable. And finally, the Fox Devil. And you're probably looking at the glaring issue here. Yeah, honestly, despite the small size, I would rather take a small Fox Devil instead of no Fox Devil. And with the power of perspective, you can make the Fox Devil look larger than it really is. The accessories are serviceable, but it would have been nice to have like a full set of hands, such as 2 fist hands or 2 cone hands, and other accessories would have been nice as well, such as a basic stand which comes with the Chainsaw Man figure, or maybe a small cigar. The articulation itself is either alright or below average to me. The head easily pops off and in, and surprisingly remains stable, which is a good thing if you want to add or remove the sheath. The butterfly joints are virtually non-existent, and if they were to remove them from this figure entirely, nothing would change. Since the butterfly joints doesn't function as intended on mine, the arm could come off of the figure if you're not careful. The suit doesn't hinder the leg articulation, which is good, and the leg articulation is nice until you reach the leg part, because you can use the ankle rocker, but you can't hinge it up or down. I mean, technically you could, but mine is like frozen solid, so I can't really do it, which is unfortunate. Also, bonus points for having pinless joints. Yeah, almost forgot to mention, be careful when using the torso articulation, because yeah, that can happen. As for the size comparison, here is Aki next to SH Figure Arts Katana Man, Funko Pop Katana Man, Total Anime Chainsaw Man, and the usual Carnosaurus and Pigman. So all in all, if you want a decent, serviceable, and relatively affordable Aki figure, I would recommend purchasing it. It looks fine, has a decent amount of accessories, and alright articulation. It does have some flaws or potential turnoffs with the non-functioning butterfly joint, small Fox Devil, or the head popping off too easily. If this deters you from buying this figure, then I suggest going after the Figma or SH Figure Arts Aki. So for Total Anime's Aki, I think it's alright, especially since I can't afford the SH Figure Arts or Figma Aki at this time. So it's a nice substitute. I'm gonna place it in C tier, which is not bad by any means. No way, Jojo Blox just added an Aki update. Like look at that, that's Aki. Honestly, A tier. Like, this is an amazing update by the developers. Like, I wasn't familiar with your game. So that's all for this video, and here's the final tier list. Overall, Aki is pretty good for the most part within these games. There are some outliers, of course, but I'm glad to see Aki being a good character to use in certain games. Let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on Aki within these games, and in general. Is he your character? If not, let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite Chainsaw Man character? And also, just for fun, I'm gonna make another community poll so you guys can have a second chance to get that ranking every Chainsaw Man video. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's all. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.